for my journey, God bless my mother, because it was times were really hard when my father left the family. There wasn't a lot of money, but my mom always made sure that I had number 2 pencils and binder paper. So even though it had the blue lines on it and the number 2 pencils, I'd have to sharpen them. I'd go down into the laundry room where we had a fastened pencil sharpener, crank them, sharpen them, and I'd go back and sit at the kitchen table and just get lost in my art. Life was very difficult for our family when my stepfather and his family had joined us and lived with us. It was really hard on me, but I would get lost even more in my imagination and my art, and my drawing became therapy for me, and it really helped me through some really difficult times. And as a result, because I had to go there so much, I just developed, just like anything, it's the more you practice, the luckier you get. And so I was really a self-taught artist, so I was really learned at a very early age how to capture shape and form and start to draw things, and they saw that I had a passion for it, and I was very interested in studying other art and artists and mimicking that. Anthony, who's speaking today from Marvel, is an incredible concept artist, and he reminded me that when I was in high school in algebra class, I was copying images of the Hulk. So I was sketching my own version of the Hulk as a young boy, and I loved that, and so I was always mimicking it first, and copying, and that's where it grew. And then I think slowly you find your way, you find your voice and your creativity, and you pursue that. So for me, it was drawing. And when I was a senior in high school, my friend's father was a very successful businessman, and he wanted a new logo, and he knew that I was doing graphic design at a very young age, and so I designed a logo for him and designed his entire stationery package, and I talked myself up and explained to him it's a very difficult process, and I was just guessing at a lot of it, but I'm like, there's going to be revisions and back and forth, and I billed him $1,000. This was in 1982. He paid me $1,000 to do an entire stationery package and logo design for his company, and he was a bit of an egomaniac businessman. And so what I did is the font that I chose was the same font that we use on the United States currency, the dollar bill. So I used the same font. He loved that. He's like, that's the money font. I love that. And I played to his ego. Yeah. And but I got $1,000 for that, and that was I started my own graphic design business, and I was still in high school. And so I became the art guy. People, you're the go-to guy for those types of things. And I love design. I love fashion design, and I was really attracted to fashion illustration. And so that became part of some of the images that I showed today are of that world and of that ilk of design, and with MTV starting to happen, and there was so much interesting design stuff going on back in the early 80s, and that really inspired me. And so as I evolved, filmmaking and storytelling coupled with my images was very attractive to me. And so I had packed up and moved I made a short film that I got into some film festivals, and then I packed up and moved to Los Angeles in 1996, and that's when I started working in live action production, and I got to work with some really incredible directors like Michel Gondry and Traktor, and these phenomenal people that were doing incredible commercials back then. And I was just starting out as a lowly production assistant, just where I could be near the camera and observe and learn and watch. And then as the Macintosh computer developed into a tool where you could design and render and export for broadcast television, it changed the game. And so Seth Epstein had opened Fuel in Santa Monica, and it was one of the first design-centric production companies of its kind. And out of that came amazing artists like Jens Gelhar, who went to Brand New School, and with Jonathan Nataro, who started Brand New School, Jake Banks, who started Stardust, and all these amazing artists that came out of Fuel, including PJ Richardson, who I met there. So my colleague, who I work for now, the executive creative director, I met 20-some years ago at Fuel, and that's where we first met. So it's a small industry, and you have these lifelong friends. That I love what I do, and I love everybody I do it with, and not many people get to say that.